Hi, I'm Jim Miller with Dry Steam Tech Support. We're here to demonstrate how to change the RO400 pre-filter and membranes. How do we know when it's time to change the pre-filter? When our filter in to filter out pressure exceeds 10 psi with the RO pump running. A malfunction in the pre-treatment, supply water pressure drop, or pump failure may cause low output or high TDS, so these should be investigated first. We replace the RO membranes when our TDS, or total dissolved solids, rise above 50 or the permeate minimum level cannot be adjusted properly. Membrane cleaning may also be an option. It should be noted that the permeate output will decrease as the water temperature drops, about 1.5% per degree Fahrenheit. This is why it's important to log your readings regularly. Daily is recommended. To change the RO pre-filter, put the system into standby and shut the RO system down. Close the water supply valve, unthread the filter housing with the supplied wrench, and remove the old filter. Inspect the housing and O-ring and replace or lubricate as needed and rinse out the housing. Remove the packaging material and install the new filter and reassemble. Installing new membranes. Relieve pressure on the membranes by opening the supply valve downstream of the RO, or bypass to drain if you want to drain all the water, or actuate the flush valve and relief valve through diagnostics, then test outputs. If you have drained all the water from the system, now would be a good time to check the air pressure in the pressurized holding tank if so equipped. It should be 26 to 28 psi. Make sure there is no water pressure in the system. You may choose to use nitrile gloves when handling the membranes due to preservatives and contaminants. Remove all lines from the top membrane cap. Take a picture with your phone or note the location of the fittings before removing. Then remove the bottom fittings to drain the membrane housing if you plan on removing the whole bank or you have contaminated water. We will be showing the removal of the membranes from the top of the housing because this is the simplest method. You can now remove each membrane array if you wish by lifting on the handles. This may require 2 people. Do not rotate the membrane housings or you will have a hard time aligning the tube connections. Loosen and remove the top end cap clamps. Using 2 flat blade screwdrivers, gently pry the cap off the housing. Then remove the membrane. Note the sealing end. Remove the packaging material and install a new membrane by slowly inserting it into the housing. Ensure that the brine seal is oriented towards the feed end. And install a new membrane by slowly inserting it into the housing. Check that all adapters and O-rings are in good condition and in the correct position. Loosely reconnect the lines to the caps and lubricate the O-rings with glycerin before seating the caps. Install new Teflon tape on the manifold connections and rethread the fittings. Do not over-tighten. Reinstall the membrane cap clamps loosely and test fit by sliding the bank in and testing the clearance. Once confirmed, tighten the clamps. Tighten all connections. It is highly recommended to have a spare set of O-rings and brine seal when replacing the membranes. Do not change the plumbing routing. Any change will destroy the membranes. Turn the water back on and put the system in auto. Verify that there are no leaks. And the flow meters are adjusted properly. We will demonstrate the adjustment of the reverse osmosis flow meters. This will be on a specific model of our 400 series unit. Your model specifics will vary, but the adjustment procedures are similar. Let's point out the different parts that we will be looking at and adjusting. This is the throttle valve. The RO400 has one, the RO200 does not. This is the concentrate in gauge. We strive for 150 psi, no less than 100 psi. This is the concentrate to recirculation flow meter. This is the concentrate to drain flow meter. This is the permeate flow meter. Permeate is the good water that has been filtered by the RO system, so the higher the number, the better. The flow meter may have instructions on how to read the float level. If there are no instructions, read the widest section of the float. We need to refer to the installation and operation manual for the correct settings for the flow meters for each specific model. Today we're working with an RO402, so these are the settings we will be adjusting to. Here are the various settings: concentrate or drain, recirculate, and permeate. Before we start the unit, please make sure both flow meter adjustment knobs are open. Never start the unit with these shut all the way. The throttle valve should be opened about half a turn. We may need to drain the storage tank to allow the RO pump to operate. All adjustments must be made with the RO pump running. Put the system in auto. Look at the concentrate in number. Adjust the throttle valve so the concentrate in meter reads about 150 psi. Adjust the drain and recirc flow meters to the proper levels while watching the concentrate in pressure. Adjust the throttle valve up or down to maintain 150 psi concentrate in while meeting the flow meter specifications. Now look at the permeate meter. Is it at or above the minimum specification? We adjust these flow meters and throttle valve until we have achieved the correct specifications. This is more of a dance than a science. Lastly, do not leave the unit in standby or turned off for more than a few days at a time. This will cause contamination of the RO system. Leave it in auto and it will periodically go through a flush sequence to keep the water fresh in the system even if there is no demand on the system.